Yes. Yeah. Good evening, all. So myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold 20 plus years of experience in different technologies like Informatica, like Hadoop, Big Data, Hadoop, Spark, and Azure Data Engineering, right? So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yeah, it's clear.
Visible.
Fine. Thank you. So as part of today's demo, I'll be covering the following things. Why data engineer? Why data engineer? So previously we used to call like ETL developers. We used to go why again data engineer, and what is the role of data engineer today? Role of data engineer. And difference between. So most of them ask difference between data engineer, data scientist, data analyst. Data engineering products or services. I'll just brief you about data, Azure data engineering, Azure data engineer products or services. Job market of Azure data engineer. Yes, this is the thing. Why data engineer? Role of data engineer, difference between data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, Azure data engineering products or services, job market of Azure data engineer. So here we are going to use the cloud, Azure cloud, right? So generally, what is cloud? It is majorly utilized. Cloud is majorly, yes. Yes. It is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering. Yes. And delivering data in various form. Data engineers, with the help of these cloud services, they work on data and make it structured and useful. So this data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination, right? Yes. So before I go with this, the advantage of cloud over this on-premises, right? If you say advantage of cloud, on-premises. Here we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure, right? So we need to set up hardware infrastructure in case of on-premises, right? Secondly, on top of that, OS installation, purchasing database licenses, and installation of database server. Yes. Designing database objects. Designing database objects. So here, advantage of cloud over on-premise, right? We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure, and on top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, yes, installation of database server, right? Designing database server. Again, to maintain all this, right? We require separate teams. We require separate teams again. Hardware team is required. Operating system team is required. Networking team. Security team. database administrators. Database administrators. So hardware team, operating system team, networking, security team, and database administrators. But here in the cloud, we no need to maintain all this. In the cloud, no need to maintain all this. No need of any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here, everything in the cloud. Everything in the cloud, right? So I said data engineer with the help of this cloud services. They work on this data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow. Understand here? Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. Yes. So data engineer responsible for preparing the data, is responsible for preparing the data, cleansing the data, is responsible for preparing the data, cleansing the data, transforming the data, processing the data, cleansing or filtering data, and processing data, right? Now, compared with data scientist, right? Yes. See, everything deals with the data here. Everything deals with the data. Data has got experience. Data has got future reference. Using with the data or this performing data analysis, data predictions, data classification, data clustering, data recommendations, right? So data scientist does all this data analysis, predictions, classifications, clusterings, recommendation. So generally, data scientist in a simple way, right? He's going to strategizes for the future. Strategizes for the future. So he's going to analyze the data, simple way, data scientist, and also other side, a data analyst. In a single line, if I say data analyst, summarizes the past. Summarizes the past. So here, data scientist is going to analyze the data. Identify the patterns. Identify the patterns. Recommendations for the future. Strategies for the future, analyzing the data, identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Data analyst summarizes the data of the past. He to analyze the data, visualizing the data. Yes. Data engineer does all the groundwork. He does all the groundwork, right? Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. More than 70% of data analysis, more than 70% of data analysis work is done by data engineer. Data engineering involves data engineering involves so from where we need to bring the data from? What are the sources of the data? What are the sources of data? What is the format of the data? In what format the data? What is the format of the data? How to transform the data? How to transform the data? And what is the destination of the data? Destination of the data. So data engineering involves the sources. What are the sources of the data? From where you need to pull the data from? What are the formats of the data? How to transform the data? And what is the final destination of the data? So I said data engineer does all the groundwork for the data scientist and analyst. So more than 70% of the data analysis work is done by data engineer, right? I was saying preparation of data, cleansing or filtering data, transforming data, and processing data. So data scientist strategizes for the future, is going to perform recommendations, is performing data analysis, data predictions, classifications, clusterings, and recommendations. Data analyst summarizes the data of the past and visualizing the data. So this is the difference between data engineer, data scientist, and analyst. Data engineer does data management and data storage and data management he does, right? Now, why? So a typical data engineer, difference between a ETL developer and a data engineer. Previously, if you talk about ETL developer, he was working with the structured data, but a typical data engineer, he need to handle all types of data like structured data, semi-structured, unstructured, streaming data, and NoSQL kind of data. He need to handle all types of data, right? He need to work with all types of data. That's why we say data engineer, right? So why Azure data engineer? Why Azure data engineer in demand today? Mm. So if I talk, just observe this. If you take an organization, if you take any organization, right? Yes. It wants to increase the business revenue. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data in its website. The organization uses Azure for its operation. So it is going to hire two people. So this organization hiring two people like data scientist and Azure data engineer. Azure data engineer, right? Yes. So Azure data engineer, he creates main work of Azure data engineer. First, the Azure data engineer creates data warehouse, is going to create data warehouse for the organization. A data warehouse is the storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, various resources such as new users, the old existing users, and also the data engineers structures this data, stores it, and monitors it in this data warehouse. Secondly, Azure data engineer, right? He needs to communicate with the data scientist. He has to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. To understand the data requirement, he also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements of the organization. The Azure data engineer, he need to keep in mind the business needs when dealing with the data in the hand, right? Yes. So later the data scientist, they analyze and creates insights from the processed data of data engineer and data. So this data engineer, they keep on processing, this data engineers, they keep on processing analyzing and monitoring the data. They create data pipelines. Data engineers, they create data data pipelines they create. So the output of one will be the input to the next. So in this way, the output of one will be the input, like data pipelines will be created through which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. So yes, he also makes sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure without any data leaks or data exposures, right? So this is just I was talking about the primary role of a data engineer, right? Yes. So just is going to create a data warehouse for the organization and is going to structure the data, storing the data, monitoring the data in this data warehouse. And also you need to keep in mind the data requirement, right, while dealing with the data, right? And also you need to keep on process the data and analyzing the data, right? And also make sure that the pipelines, you need to create pipelines. The pipeline should be secure and efficient, right? Yes, fine. This is the primary role of data engineer, right? Like now, if I talk, there are many other roles, right, of a data engineer. That is Azure data engineer. Okay, role of Azure data engineer. Just one by one, I'll discuss. First one, designing. Okay, designing the entire data flow architecture, creating a data warehouse, creating data warehouse. Yes, for storage of analytical data, right? Main task of data engineering, performing ETL, extract, transform, load, extract, transform, and load, right? Yes. Previously, we had some ETL tools like Informatica, Data Stage, Talent, all this. They are on-premises ETL tools, but the same thing I'm expecting in the cloud, right? So we have got some tools, ETL tools, right? Which cloud-based ETL. So I'll be discussing about that. What are the services which are used for this ETL purpose? So the main task of data engineer, ETL, extract, transform, and load. So you need to extract the data from multiple sources, transform it into structured and queryable data, and then loading the data into this company's storage service for the further business evaluation by the data scientist. Yes. And also like data monitoring, the other task like data monitoring. Data monitoring, right, is to make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way and data is available everywhere, anywhere where it is required. And also like data security. Yes. Ensuring that ensuring data security is also a major responsibility of data engineer. He needs to secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposure. And also, just now I said collaboration, collaboration and communication, right? Collaboration and communication with the business team and also with the data scientist. Means they need to constantly communicate with the business team and also with the data scientist to deliver the data as per their need, as per their requirement. Analytics. So yes, data engineers, they analyze the data and transform it into structured and useful format, and they need to have some strong analytical skills to perform this kind of analysis. And also certain things need to be automation, right? Certain things have to means extraction process. For example, we need to automate certain process. We require minimal human intervention, such as extraction process. These are the role of Azure data engineer: designing data flow architecture, creating data warehouse, ETL, data monitoring, data security, collaboration, communication, analytics, and automation, right? Yes. Yes. Azure data engineering products are services. Data engineering products are services, right? So what are the various data engineering products or services? Like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Lake Storage, we say ADLS, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, we say like ADF, Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Streaming, Azure Cosmos DB. Just like MongoDB, here we got like Cosmos DB that is in the cloud, and Azure Key Vault. So just in a single line, I'll give overview about this data engineering products and services, why we use these things. So just a single line for each of this. Azure SQL, in a simple way, Azure SQL, right? Simply, it is a cloud or DBMS database. I can say it is cloud or DBMS. It's a simple way, cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. Yes. Cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP operations, online transactional processing. OLTP means online transactional processing. OLTP system captures end users transactions. It is not for data warehouse. It is for OLTP operations, for day-to-day operations, capturing end user transactions. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake Storage, we say, in a simple way, distributed, I can say it's a distributed file system. I can say like a distributed file system with unlimited data storage. With unlimited data storage in cloud. That is data lake. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage in cloud. That is data lake. So generally, if you talk in big data, Hadoop, you got a distributed file system like Hadoop distributed file system. Similarly, in Azure Data Lake, cloud DFS, cloud distributed file system, I can say Azure Data Lake, it is a repository. It is a repository of large varieties of structured data, semi-structured, unstructured, any kind of data, right? So in a simple way, right, Azure SQL storing data in the form of tables, data lake storing data in the form of files, data lake. So data lake is available for all that cloud environment. And next, Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. For data warehouse, for data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for batch applications. What do you mean by batch applications or batch processing? Nothing but See, generally we have got two types of applications, batch applications and online applications. Online applications means user interactive applications. When user gives the input, getting response, request response architecture. Online applications means compulsory user has to give the input. But these batch applications, right? User is nowhere required, no need of giving any input by the user. Everything happens in the background. So it deals with millions and trillions of records. Online transaction, a single record or two records, but here batch applications, batch of records, lakhs, millions and trillions of records, right? And that too, no user interference, right? And also for parallel processing, for analytics. Okay. Azure Data Factory, one of the important component, Azure Data Factory, ADF. In a simple way, it is a cloud ETL. Generally, like we got some ETL tools like Informatica, Talent, all this, they are on-premise. In the same way, in the cloud, I want a ETL that is nothing but Azure Data Lake. A simple way, it is a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL, right? Yes, is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud. It is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. So later I discuss in brief about it. It is a data integration service. Yes. Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks, ADB. It is Apache Spark based. It is Apache Spark based data analytics platform. So what is Apache Spark? Spark is a very high speed processing execution model which processes huge data, that is big data, at a very high rate of speed, right? So it is a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming. Analyzing, just and processing high volumes. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Streaming, what do you mean by streaming data? The data which keeps on generating, the data which keeps on incrementing, such data we call it as streaming data, and that too from multiple sources simultaneously, right? We use Azure Streaming for capturing it. Next, yes. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB. Just like MongoDB, same like MongoDB. It's a kind of NoSQL database, same like, so we call Cosmos DB. So it is a cloud-based. It is a cloud-based NoSQL database, right? NoSQL database. What do you mean by NoSQL? Not only SQL. In the case of SQL, schema compulsory, but in case of NoSQL, schemaless behavior. In case of SQL, first record to last record, the same number of columns or fields has to be maintained. But in case of NoSQL, record to record, different number of fields can be maintained. First record with 3 fields, second record with 5 fields, third record with 10 fields, right? Record to record any number of fields can be maintained, right? We have got many different types of NoSQL databases. Key value stored or graph store, columnar store, right? Graph. So in this way, we have got a different NoSQL databases like Cassandra, HBase, React, Peanut, Neo4j. In this way, many NoSQL. They're the same way on cloud environment, on a cloud-based NoSQL, right? We got Cosmos DB and Azure Key Vault. In a simple way, secure key management for protecting the data in the cloud. Secure key management for protecting the data in the cloud, right? So Azure Data Engineering products and services like Azure SQL, it's a simple way like a cloud RDBMS. Azure Data Lake, it's a kind of file system, distributed file system with unlimited storage. Azure Synapse Analytics for data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for batch applications, like Data Factory. This it is a ETL, cloud-based ETL, and Databricks. It's Apache Spark-based data analytics platform, right? Azure Streaming, capturing high volumes of streaming data, and Azure Cosmos DB NoSQL database. It's a kind of NoSQL database, and Azure Key Vault for protecting the data in the cloud. Yes. So as part of this course, like Azure Data Engineer, right? Yes. Azure Data Engineer. Yes. First thing, like Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory ADF, that is the first thing that will be discussed. And apart from that, Azure Databricks, Azure Databricks. And total PySpark. In this, the total PySpark course will be discussed in this. Spark with the Python implementation, which has got a great boom in today's industry, right? Yes. And Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics. These are the major discussions, right? Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, and Azure Synapse Analytics. Right. Apart from this, right? Yes. You will be also getting knowledge on this Azure SQL. You'll be getting knowledge on this Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Lake Storage. Azure Streaming, Azure Streaming. Yes. Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake. So major discussion will be on this. Yes. You can just check with this course content. So what I'll be discussing as part of this course, right? So ADF, Azure Data Factory. First, before that, overview about all these resources in Azure Data Factory. Why Data Factory? Azure Data Factory Portal UI, top level components like pipelines, activities, link services, data sets, triggers, data flows, integration runtime, pipelines, creating new pipeline and organizing pipelines, debugging pipelines, publishing pipelines, pipelines parameters, linked service, creating linked service for different things, right? And also data sets, working with different types of data for Avro file, binary file, CSV file, Excel files, JSON files, ORC file, Parquet file, XML file, and also tables in SQL database, different types of activities, copy activity, get metadata activity, filter activity, right? Creating variables, setting and appending variables, copy data activity is Databricks notebooks, different types of activity, lookup, stored procedure, get metadata, delete, and different types of iteration like filter for each if conditions, which triggers, schedule trigger, tumbling window trigger, storage event, custom event triggers, integration runtime, self-hosted, and data flows. Data flows, right? Yes, many inbuilt transformations are provided for this data flows. Different types of transformations, filter transformation, aggregate transformation, join transformation, delete column, exist transformation, union, lookup, sort, group by, pivot, unpivot, flattens, uh, stringify, right? Filter, sort, alter row, asset, and removing duplicates rows using mapping data flows, slowly changing dimension, SCD type 1 and type 2, yes, and around 50 exercises, practical exercises I'll be discussing as part of this. So different on this copy data activity, how to copy from different things, source and destination, and data flows, different data flow transformations, around 50 things. Coming to this Azure Databricks, before you go with Azure Databricks, I will provide you that prerequisites of this big data, Hadoop and Spark, and also on this Azure. And I will come back to this Databricks. Creating Azure Databricks service, adding users and groups to that, creating cluster, getting started with notebooks. So working with cluster management, like displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster logs, use cluster access control, all types of cluster, all purpose cluster, job cluster, Databricks pools, Databricks without pools, Databricks with pools, cluster mode, standard, high concurrency, single node, auto scaling, Databricks utilities, credential utility, data utility, file system utility, job utility, notebook utility, secrets, widgets, Databricks integration with different things, right? And Databricks handling with multiple file formats, CSV format, JSON, Parquet, Excel, XML, ORC, Avro. Databricks batch processing, historical data load, incremental data load, date transformations, aggregations, join operations, window functions, union operations. Databricks streaming API, what is streaming? Process of handling this PySpark API, handling bad records. Databricks Lakehouse, Delta Lake, and difference between Data Lake and Delta Lake, features of Delta Lake, how to create Delta Lake, merge statement, SCD type 1 and type 2 here, handling data deduplication in Delta tables, handling streaming data in Delta Lake, and workflows in Databricks, introduction to workflows, creating, running, managing, scheduled Databricks jobs, and monitoring Databricks jobs. So these things will be discussed, right? Yes. And Azure Synapse, you can see that course content for this Azure Synapse, Synapse triggers, incremental load, logging and notifications, deep dive into copy activity, data flow introduction, Spark pool, right? Yes, these things. 1 second. Offerings from my side, if each and every session is recorded, you will be getting the recorded session of each session, even if you are absent for a particular day or a couple of days, right? Even you can just go through the videos and attend the session for better understanding. Session video, right? Soft copy of this class notes. Assignments and tasks to work. So a WhatsApp group will be created by me, right? For technical discussions. If you got any errors, you can take that snap of that errors and you can post in the WhatsApp group. Anybody can answer, I'll be answering it. Interview questions. interactive hands-on sessions means you can do that things. The practical parts or the tasks you can do parallelly along with me. Interactive hands-on sessions, right? So you'll be getting the session video, soft copy of the class notes, assignments and tasks, a WhatsApp group, and interview questions. Okay, fine. And apart from this, from DurgaSoft, they are providing, whenever you get enrolled for this course, they are provided some offer, right? They are providing some videos of this. Shell scripting around 120 videos of Mr. Durgasar, right? Plus MySQL videos, some 35 videos of this MySQL will be provided. So totally this Unix, Linux, MySQL, and also like basic Python videos. So basic Python videos, right? So around 6,000 worth videos access will be provided for you whenever you enroll for this. Okay, the offerings from this, and that is the course content, and this is the major thing what we're going to discuss. And if it, okay, any queries, you can just go with your queries, right? Yes, you can unmute and you can just ask your queries. Yes. So even if I talk about the job market, right? Yes. So according to Microsoft, you can see every year like lakhs of companies are getting registered into this Azure, right? More than 95% of this Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure cloud services. They in turn increasing number of job opportunities for this Azure data engineers constantly, right? Even the major companies are beginning and they're adopting Azure and they are shifting to Azure, and they're regularly in need of professionals who can work and on Azure and handle big data, right? Even if you talk about the pay scales also, data engineers, right, has got the highest average salary as closely as the data scientist. Even you can see the top two highest paying jobs, data scientist and data engineers, right? So just pursuing this data engineer course will never let you down, right? Yes. Even if you see these data engineer jobs are the emerging jobs, right? Yes. Even many companies like companies such as Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon are interested in hiring data engineers with great salary packages. Even the tech giants, right? Like Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, they're offering many high paying jobs to data engineers, especially this data engineering course, right? Especially this Azure data engineering courses. Even if you see the salary packages as compared with other technologies, right? It pays 1.5 times more than the other technologies. In the same way, they'll be expecting the technical skills from your side. So we'll be getting all those things. So the course duration will be around 2 around 3 months, right? Yes, 2.5 3 months is the course duration. We'll be discussing these four things in brief, in depth, right? Not like other training sites. Just I'll be discussing PySpark in brief, in detail, right? Yes. So not like an overview like other training sites. We'll be discussing in brief because this is the main execution engine, right? In Azure Data Factory, in Azure Databricks, in Azure Synapse, right? The main thing, Spark execution happening, right? Spark execution happens. So as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a Synapse developer or PySpark developer, right? You will be interacting with this Azure SQL data lake and this streaming, right? You will be getting the knowledge about those things. Even PySpark is the main thing here. Spark is the main execution engine, as I said, which runs at the back end for all these things. So you'll be getting in-depth knowledge on Spark, right? Fine. Any other queries? Tomorrow also everyone can attend the session, same timing at 7 o'clock using the same link to see more discussion on this, right? That's more briefing about this data engineering services and products. Let me make it clear about the timings of this batch even before you go with the payment process, right? Let me make it clear about the timings of this batch. First 4 to 5 days, it will be at 7 p.m. Later, it will be at 6 p.m. So I'm making it clear before this payment process. So the timing of this batch, first to 4 to 5 days on, it will be at 7 p.m. Later, it will be 6 to 7. 6 to 7 up to the end of the course. Even I said the course duration is 3 months, but if you want to complete in a lesser time, yeah, when ADF is going on, you can also go parallelly with the other things. Whenever I start other batches, in other batches, whenever I've started Databricks or this Synapse, right, you can attend parallelly so that you can complete in less time. Fine. All the sessions will be interactive sessions. All the sessions will be interactive and all practical oriented. You can do hands-on along with me parallelly. You can do all the tasks parallelly along with me. If you get any error, you can share your screen in Zoom, right? So that can be rectified. So interactive hands-on sessions, right? And a separate WhatsApp group for technical discussions where you can have direct interactions with me. Yes. Clear soft copy of these notes and the session video if you miss the session, right? Any other queries you got anywhere, right? Yes. Okay, fine.
Any prerequisites to learn
Yes,
Azure
yes.
data engineering?
So here for this, the prerequisites, see if you see in this, right? So the prerequisites, whatever is there, I'll be discussing as part of this course itself. So for this for Azure Data Factory, right? For this Azure Data Factory, no prerequisites, no prerequisites, right? It's a zero coding ETL. No coding, no prerequisites. It's a zero coding ETL. Everything drag and drop. Even in Informatica, previously you got 80% drag and drop, 20% you're writing SQL scripts. Here 100% drag and drop. No need to write any SQL scripts also. No prerequisites for this ADF. But for Azure Databricks, for this Azure Databricks, there is some prerequisites there that I'll be covering. I said the introduction to Databricks, right? Some big data, Hadoop and Spark knowledge that I'll be providing you before I go with this actual Databricks. And also majorly for this course, the main prerequisite, basic Python knowledge and basic SQL knowledge is enough, right? Remaining all I'll be covering as part of this course. So I said around 3 months we'll be spending on this. So you'll be getting with many working examples we'll be discussing. So you'll get a great command on this Azure Data Engineer, right? Yes. So I also said I'll be discussing the total PySpark course in brief, in depth here. So because I'm taking a separate PySpark batches separately, weekend batches, weekday batches are available. But in this, as part of this, I'll be covering the entire PySpark, where you need to have strong technical skills on this PySpark. Even if you see a lot of boom for PySpark today, it's a very high speed processing execution for processing huge data, big data, right, in quick time. Okay, fine. Any other queries you got? Yes. So basic,
Sir, I have one query. Can I ask?
yes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just observed that some other courses by you, sir, starting on 15th of September, 9 p.m. That is
Mm-hmm.
full stack data science with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Like it's 5 months long course.
Mm.
So, uh, like, uh, like I want to join this. I'm interested in this course. I got go through the content and all. Like, we have modules
Okay.
we are covering here. Yes.
So this is data engineering. So this Azure data engineering, right? So what all the things like Azure
No, no,
data?
sir. No, I'm
Mm.
talking about another course by you only at 9 p.m.
Okay.
starting on 15th of September this
Yes,
month.
sir. Yes, yes. That you want to join?
Yes, yes. Full stack data science with artificial intelligence. The course
Okay.
name.
That you can attend. Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
But
so
I'll go ahead
how can I get the link, sir? I
through
have to
website.
register, right?
Through
Okay.
website, you can get. Otherwise, you'll be getting the link through mails also, right? Yes.
Okay, through website I'll register. And what are the like what is the charges? Can I
No, no,
know or
about that course, I cannot discuss in this. So if you got any
okay, okay,
queries
fine.
related to this, you can ask the queries, right? That is separate course. So I do
Sure, sure.
handle
Okay.
data science and data artificial intelligence also, right? But this is data engineering. If you got any queries related to this, So in this
No, no,
total,
okay, fine. Mhm.
yes, yes. Um, so this is that entire package we are discussing in this data engineer, right? As a data factory, Databricks, PySpark, and Synapse Analytics. Okay. Fine. Any other queries you got, anyone? Right.
Hello. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, here we have to learn a SQL, sir.
See, basic SQL knowledge is enough.
Yeah, because of I
Like,
am a by PC background, but I want to interest here
so
software.
here, okay. So you can just, by the time this Azure Data Factory doesn't require any knowledge on anything, it takes around 25 to 30 days. Meanwhile, you can just go to the videos, right? This
Yeah.
videos will be provided. Everything will be neat and clear. Not that much knowledge also not required. Some basic, any even you can understand easily. Creating table, inserting data,
Yeah.
or performing some code operations. That's enough. So only thing is attending the sessions regularly and doing the practicals along during the course or interacting. All the sessions are interactive. Each and every task what I type, you people will be responding, right? So it's one of the demanding tool in this demanding course in the market, right? Azure Data Engineer. Means if you talk about all the other data related, right? Data related courses, data scientist, data science, or data analyst, everything dependent on this data engineer. He is the person who is going to pull the data from various sources, bringing it to one place and transforming it and processing it, and later comes those people, right? They'll be handling it. So majorly the data engineer, he's going to work, he's going to handle the data, right?
Yes.
Yes, fine.
Sir, one more thing. I heard about Azure Data DevOps. Here, Azure Data Factory. It is also both like similar kind of like in DevOps also there is a pipelines. In Data Factory also data engineering. In data
So
engineering there is a pipelines also, no?
so here we are creating, okay, this is data factory is little different, right? So totally everything will be performing drag and drop. We'll be creating pipelines, yes.
In DevOps,
Hmm.
Azure DevOps, no?
Yes.
We
Okay.
call it as Azure Data Factory DevOps.
No, no, no. They are different. DevOps that is different. This is different.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
So here we have got many products in Azure. We have got many products for Azure, right? Not only this, many, but for data engineering, right? These are the products
Acha.
for Azure Data Engineering. For all the other things, Azure is providing many products or services available. For data
Hmm.
engineering, these are the main, especially these are the main,
Acha. Right.
right? Okay,
Hmm.
fine. So
ठीक है.
yes. So if I'm done with the queries, if there are no other queries, I'm signing off for now. Meet you tomorrow, same time at 7 o'clock using the same link, right? To see more discussion, right? Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow. Bye.